Hey guys, Nightfox here. Welcome to my weekly power rankings. So, what this video is pretty much going to be is a video, I guess you could call it series, I'm going to release probably every Sunday. And it's just going to be me having a ranking of the shows that I'm watching this season and just putting them in a ranking based on what I think of the show, what I'm getting from the show, what shows I think are going to be really good this season, what's not going to be good, and what's in the middle. And so the purpose of this is just so, if you're looking for shows to watch you don't really know, you could see what I think is going to be good, or if you're popping in later during the season and you started to watch some shows, but you might have gotten just a little bit behind, you're not sure which shows you want to keep watching, you could pop in here and see maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks into the season and see which shows I think are still going strong. So it's mostly just for those people that maybe don't have as much time to watch as many shows as I do. And so using this, they can just cherry pick the ones that I think that are doing well and are worth the time for the season. So without further ado, let's get into the list. So we're going to go from the bottom to the top of the list, starting at number 17. I am watching 17 full shows this season. If you check my Mal account, you'll see I'm watching a couple more. Mostly they are just shorts, and I didn't feel that it was fair to compare shorts against full-length shows, just because the full-length shows have more time to work with, so they can do a lot more things than shorts can. So I am excluding shorts from these power rankings and just comparing actual shows. So at the number 17 spot, we have Trickster. In the number 16 spot, we have Brave Witches. In the number 15 spot, we have Long Riders. And in the number 14 spot, we have Blood of Wars. And so I'm grouping these bottom shows in, I guess, the unimpressed category so far. With most of these shows, I'm not really getting a whole lot out of them. I'm not really that engaged in the story. I think some of the stories are generic, and other ones just aren't moving at a very fast pace at all. And so it seems like the show doesn't really know where it's going, and then some shows just seem confused about what genre they want to be comparing to what genre they actually are. So at this point in the season, I would say don't really waste your time watching these shows. I don't think they're going to give you a significant payoff. Now again, I do want to say this, just because I'm rating them lowly now does not mean that they cannot change in the future. I've only watched, I think, a maximum of three or two episodes for most of these shows, depending on when they were released. So we're still very early in the season. So very easily, any of these shows that I just mentioned could easily come up to the top of the power rankings if the show really starts to get in gear and produces a really interesting and engaging story. But as of right now, they're not the strongest shows of the season so far. They have a lot of weaknesses, I feel. Alright, so let's start with the middle of the pack. Let's do the bottom half of the middle first. In the 13th spot, we have Occultic 9. In the 12th place spot, we have Magic of Stella. And then tied for the 10th place spot are Izetta, The Last Witch, and Yuri of Ice. So one I would look out for, even though I have it ranked pretty low, is Occultic 9. The first episode was a little hard to follow, second episode got a little bit better, and I think this show does have a lot of potential for where it's going. As of right now, it hasn't fully realized its potential, and I feel like it could be going into a little bit of a dangerous territory. But I think if it does pull it off, it'll easily shoot up my power rankings and get one of those higher spots on this list. Magic of Stella, it's pretty much a standard, just like Moe Cute show. It's good, it's nice, but I don't think it's anything special. So now the two shows I have tied at number 10 are going to be Izetta, The Last Witch, and Yuri of Ice. And the reason I have them tied is they both have areas that they really excel in, but I feel like the rest of the show isn't really up to par to those areas. For example, Izetta is going to be its strong action sequences, and Yuri on Ice is going to be its strong visual ice skating sequences. So those are really strong, but I feel like the rest of the show isn't quite up to the par of those levels of the show. So moving on to the upper top of the middle of the pack, we have Nanbaka sitting in the number 9 spot. In the number 8 spot, we have Boruki Baranki Season 2. And in the number 7 spot, we have Kaijo. Now I know You guys may be a little surprised I'm ranking Kaijo so high, but I think it's doing what it is and it's doing it well. Uh, it's taking itself seriously, but not too seriously. But I think it's doing well. I don't think it's going to get much higher than it is right now, honestly, because there are a lot of strong shows that are above this, and I don't really think it's going to have enough substance to move it up into that upper echelon. But for right now, I think it's good at number 7 spot. It may drop, but I think this is going to be the peak of the show. Again, Nanbaka sitting in the number 9 spot. Really good comedy show, really excels in that area, which is why I did put it this high. It doesn't really have much other than comedy, but I think that it excels in the comedy factor, so it deserves the number 9 spot. Buruki Baranki Season 2, much like the first season, a couple changes that maybe didn't let me place it as high as you may have thought it would based off the first season, but I still think it's quite a solid show, and it may climb in the future if it keeps moving along. If it goes along the way that Season 1 did, kind of ramping up towards the end, then you may see this show climb a couple spots higher in the power ranking. Alright, so now let's go to the upper echelon of shows, in my opinion, so far for the fall 2016 season. In my opinion, these are the shows that have really had a strong start and are really knocking it out of the park. And if they keep it up like this, I feel like all 6 of them are going to be very, very strong shows. So in the number 6 spot, we have Drifters. So this show actually surprised me quite a bit. The first episode, I wasn't too keen on it. It seemed like to have a lot of historical references and jokes. I wasn't really getting the humor. But second episode, I think, really tightened up a lot of the show. A lot of the animation, I think, got tightened up, and it seems like it's going to be quite a strong show for this season. And the number 5 spot is going to be March Comes In Like a Lion. Now, interestingly enough, after I watched the first episode, I didn't really have it this high. I had it probably down in the bottom half of the middle section of the pack, but with that second episode, I think it really showed a lot more of what it was going to be, and it really said what we did in the first episode here is really what the show is going to be about, and it's what we're going to focus on, and I really enjoyed a lot of the aspects of that show, which really propelled it up to this number 5 spot. It was a very big jump, but I think from what I really gathered from the first 2 episodes, I think it's going to be a very strong, like, drama slice of life show. So I'm really excited to see what this show continues to show us in the weeks ahead. Alright, in the number 4 spot we have Bungo Stray Dogs Season 2. I'm really enjoying where it's going this season. We're kind of doing a little bit of flashbacks now, so we're getting some more backstory, which I really enjoy. I will say I have it here hoping that we do get back to the main story pretty soon, because they did give us a pretty decent cliffhanger at the end of Season 1, so if it keeps dragging on with these flashback sequences, it may drop a couple spots, but if it gets back to the main story that they teased us with at the end of Season 1, I think it will stay up this high on the list. So in the number 3 spot, we have Magical Girls Raising Project. So when I read the synopsis of this show, I was instantly excited. I really love these magical girl shows that are not the normal magical girl, they're more of a deconstruction. I really love these kind of shows, and I think it's doing it really well. I think the show, I've just finished episode 3, and I think the show's really starting to get into gear now. I think the first episode was a little bit of introduction, and I think now it's really ramping up into the main story, and it's going to be really exciting and good show. And we actually have a tie for the number 1 spot. So one of the shows I have as number 1 is Ajin Season 2. It's an amazing show, really. It hits all the points. Even though it's CG, most of the show is CG, I think it handles it really well. I think it really works with the show and what it's doing. They have the good action points. They have the good drama points. They have a solid plot that keeps moving at a nice pace, but it's not too fast, not too slow. It's one of those shows where you watch it, it goes by, and you're like, oh, that was all 24 minutes. I want more of this show. So this really is a front runner for the season. And then the other show that's tied for the number 1 spot is Sound Euphonium 2. This show, again, just like Ajin, it's great. It's really hitting all those points. It has beautiful animation, beautiful characters, beautiful character interactions. We're getting some real character growth this season. I mean, it's really a wonderful show, and it's one of those shows where I'm excited to watch it every week because I just love the characters in this show. I love seeing how they grow and how they evolve as this show moves on. Like I said before, Ajin Season 2 and Sound Euphonium Season 2 are really going to be duking out this season for my #1 spot. So that's going to be the power rankings for this week of the fall season. I know there wasn't a whole lot to talk about because I was just kind of laying out my rankings. As the shows move around in the coming weeks, I'll be able to discuss more as to why I think shows are moving up or moving down. So we'll have more discussion in the following episodes. Also, if you're curious about any of these shows, I am going to be releasing first impressions for all of the shows I did mention. Once I hit about 3 episodes, I'll be releasing short little videos just giving my initial thoughts on the show. Yeah, so be on the lookout for that. If you agreed or disagreed with any of the spots on my list, feel free to leave a comment down below and tell me why you think a show should be higher or why you think a show should be lower. And remember, if you want to stay up to date and you want to be notified when those first impressions come out, if you're interested in any of these shows, be sure to hit the subscription button down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next week. See ya.